Hello, everybody. Eric Apricot here. The Warriors pull off another unexpected victory against the Nuggets. Watching the comeback in the second quarter, it's fascinating to watch the Warriors trying to figure out how to combine two opposite basketball elements. The team is used to Steph's wild airbending style, inspiration, unpredictability, flow. But Jimmy Butler is an earthbender. He brings stability, predictability, force. In this play, the Warriors go into what I call Jimmy standard formation. You have Jimmy isoing on one side, you have someone in the dunker spot, and then you have three shooters spaced around the arc. And the play is simple. Jimmy isos, and then either Jimmy scores or, more likely, someone comes to help, and whoever comes to help, you throw the ball to the open man. And that's the whole play. Predictable force. Here, Jimmy prefers this other matchup, so he throws it to Moody. He's going to screen in order to force this other defender to switch to Jimmy. Then he's going to restart Jimmy's standard formation. Brandin Podziemski thinks that Jimmy is starting a high pick and roll with Moses, and so he starts to clear out to the other side and start off-ball motion, but then he comes screeching to a stop and says, wait a second, I see Jimmy is carrying away his new defender. We're earthbending after all. So Brandin does a U-turn and he goes back to the perimeter. Jimmy gets the ball again, and we are back in Jimmy standard formation. Dunker spot, three shooters on the arc. Jimmy drives, Podge's defender stunts in for a second, and then he backs up to where he thought Podge was in the corner. Jimmy finds him, 4.5 on the shot clock, so Podge goes for this mid-range floater. The next play starts with airbending. Podge runs in, everyone's running. We're going to see if anything opens up in early transition. Jimmy sets a screen here but stumbles. Podge throws a few moves at the big, but he ends up resetting. Jimmy is being guarded by a smaller man, so that's enough airbending for now. We're going to earthbend. It's not quite Jimmy standard formation. We do still have Draymond in the dunker spot. We've got three shooters, but they're scattered around on both sides of him. That's okay, Jimmy can make this work. Jimmy drives, Jimmy spins, and sees that Moses' man, for some reason, is helping way off of Moses. Jimmy throws it over, and Moses converts. A couple plays later, rebound, quick counterattack, everyone running, BP trying to see if the defense will get confused in the early flow, and he's got nothing. So he throws it to Draymond, and Draymond immediately throws it to Jimmy Butler. Now, if we were still airbending, this would automatically trigger a split cut between Draymond and BP, and they would get either a catch and shoot or Draymond would roll. And Jimmy Butler now is trying to figure out, are we airbending or earthbending? Because it's not Jimmy that's forcing the Warriors to earthbend. In some ways, it's the Warriors who want Jimmy to earthbend more. And so Draymond settles the whole question. Instead of running towards BP for a split cut, he clears out in the other direction. So Jimmy goes, aha, okay, we're earthbending. And BP figures out the same thing, and he also clears out. Now we are in Jimmy's standard formation, Draymond in the dunker spot, three shooters on the other side of the court around the arc. Jimmy Butler drives baseline, and in fact, nobody here wants to help off their man. So Jimmy has a layup, which he misses, but that was a high percentage shot. The next play, Steve Kerr is trying to call something on the sideline. He's definitely telling Moses to clear to this side, and Draymond is communicating, telling Moses to go to the corner. And you can tell Moses really does not know what play they should run. In airbending mode, the Warriors have the ball at the delay spot, and then there's a split cut when one of the split cutters uses the third person as a screener. One person dives, one person pops out for a catch and shoot, but the Warriors end up milling around instead. Quinten Post tries to move things along by starting a split cut, so Moody knows he's got to cut the other way. Draymond sets this pin down, but then everyone just kind of stops. So Jimmy just resets and says, all right, let's simplify things. Throws it to BP, and it says, we're just going to do a pick and roll. Jimmy rolls, takes one defender away. Brandin attacks in Jimmy's slipstream, and with a sly little step back, he does get a semi-open mid-range, which he converts. The next play starts with early offense and airbending. BP calls for the screen. BP attacks in the slipstream of Moses' cut. Jimmy does back cut, but his defender calls out for the switch, and Aaron Gordon recovers. Quinten Post trying to improv by setting this Pin-in screen for Moses to go behind him, but we get another call for a switch, and Westbrook is in position. Okay, Draymond calls for the ball. We airbended for 12 seconds and got nothing. No problem. Now we go into earthbending. And he whips it over to Jimmy Butler. In theory, we are in Jimmy standard formation. Dunker spot, 3 shooters around the arc, but Draymond knows very well that he shouldn't be the one on the arc. So he migrates all the way across the court, waves to tell everyone to rotate over and make space. And now Draymond is in the dunker spot. QP got to the corner, Moses moved over, Brandin lifted to the wing. Now Jimmy attacks in isolation. All the passing lanes seem to be covered, except for some reason Michael Porter Jr. shifts over. He probably should have just been guarding Draymond. Beautiful little bounce pass to Draymond. If he catches this is a layup, but he misses it and then misses the layup, possibly due to an uncalled foul. I do think this is the right approach. Start every play with airbending, and if you got nothing, go into earthbending. Aaron Gordon gives Quinten Post way too much space. He has underestimated how much of an itchy trigger finger Post has, and what could be more airbendy than firing up a 30-foot three with 18 on the shot clock, and it works spectacularly. The very next play, QP tries to push the pace, throw ahead to Draymond, who unfortunately is not looking at him at all. This is almost a airbending disaster, but Draymond recovers, tosses to Jimmy, and what could be more airbendy than attacking 4-on-5 with Draymond on the ground, QP cutting through the lane. This is locally a 2-on-3, but Jimmy Butler attacks while all is chaos, misses the short layup, but it's so chaotic that QP managed to grab the rebound. He's got the easy putback, which he smokes off the glass, but it's so chaotic that Jimmy Butler is there. Pure hustle combined with chaos equals profit, and Jimmy Butler goes to the ref to voice his complaints. We're going to use our advanced lip reading technology to see exactly what Jimmy's on about. That's 2 fouls for a stroopwafel. Take it out when it's brown. Okay, Jimmy, there's no point in arguing with the refs. Some people want to use a stroopwafel iron with a thermostat. Some people want to use their eyeballs and take it out when it's golden brown. As long as we all agree to warm it up on our cup, we can all enjoy a victory snack. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And if you didn't enjoy this video, I promise I'll do better next time.
Really looks like that expansion's going to continue forever. As that process continues, everything is decaying so much that all that's left is kind of the waste heat of everything that ever existed in the universe. So you end up with a universe that's just very cold and dark and empty and expanding all the time. That's the most accepted theory for the end of the universe.